Hello and welcome to first part of my Blender tutorial. Together we'll be building 3D model of a house that you see in front of you. I will open a floor plan of a house and set it as a background of the scene. So I'll go view, background image, use background image and select the image. I'll use middle mouse button here as a shortcut so I don't have to select it and go to select image. So I can just use middle mouse button. I can hide this down. And I need to clear the scene now, so I'll select all the object by A to deselect any object if not all of them were selected, and now I can press A again, select all, X to erase, confirm, space, add mesh, plane. I have now plane, I'm in edit mode, so I can move it. The origin of the scene, G for grab, move it down, scale down to the selected vertices by using dot on a numerical keyboard, and I need to go to transparent mode so I can see through to the background image. So I'll press Z and I'll select the vertices and put them to align with the perimeter of the wall, because what I need to do is I need to trace the floor plan, and when I'm finished I will have exact scale down copy of the real house. So this is what I want to do. I'll put it here in a corner. What I will do now is from this edge I'll go extrude up, and from this edge I will extrude to the right. So I'll have those two vertices selected, and I'll go E for extrude, edges, and I'm extruding. Now I would like to have those walls straight, so I will press middle mouse button to fix it in the X direction. Click, extrude again, go here, extrude, and it's pretty much mechanical. Extrude, I need to go all around the whole house like that. Extrude, here I'll stop again on the edge of the wall and go to the exterior, and now I will continue in this direction. I'll stop in here because here I will have this wall getting out. If I forget any wall, to stop for any wall in here, it's not a big problem. I can always go to Ctrl R to create a loop. I can go to this wall, this edge, so I will be dividing along this edge. Otherwise I'll be dividing along this one. I can click, put it where I want it, and put it over here. So it's not a big problem. If I put someone in which I don't want to put, I can go to X and for erase and erase edge loop, and I can get rid of that one again. So I can always fix it later on if I didn't do it right. So I'll go for a few more, and then I will stop and get back to you when I'm finished. So I will extrude in here, extrude in here, I will not worry about those little ones, I can always add them later. But here I need to make a little window in the wall, so I will slice, insert a loop in this wall and put it over here, and I will keep extruding that. And I can then delete that, and I will end up with this shape. I'll pause in here and I'll get back to you when I'm finished with the floor plan completely. I have traced all the walls, but I have left one intentionally open, so I can show you how can I close the walls by joining them exactly in the corner. So if I would extrude the same way as I did before, by just tracing the image below, when I arrive to the point where two walls should meet, I will arrive to a problem because the walls will not join, but they will intersect. I will find out that this edge is not actually aligned with this edge, and the same way in here. And the reason is because I just didn't align them. I just put them randomly somewhere close to what I saw below. So when I'd like to join those walls to create nice neat corner and have the wall straight, so if I would move this one to that position, the wall wouldn't go straight. So this is not what I want either. So when I like to align them, I can do it by pressing N to go to Transform Properties, and now I can select this vertex over here and look at its X vertex position. This is the horizontal position along the red X axis. So this is in this case minus 0.840, and I can box select, B for box select, all of those vertices as well, and I can manually 840 set them like that, and I can do the same with this one. 997 box select, 97. So I can do it this way. Sometimes it's useful as well. I would have to align this edge with this edge as well in the Y direction, in the green. But there's easier way to do that rather than using transfer properties. I will box select those and delete them. What I will do is I will use the snap tool, that is a little magneto icon over here in the toolbar of the 3D view, and I can also turn it on by pressing Shift Tab combination, and this is a shortcut that I would recommend you to remember because it's quite useful. So Shift Tab is going to turn it on or off, and what it does is when I grab or when I extrude and when I move my cursor close to some vertices or to grid, and when I press and hold Control key, it will snap, and as you see it's jumping. It will snap to the vertex that is under this orange circle that's appearing when I hold the Control key. So as you see, if I don't hold it, it's moving freely. If I hold it, it's jumping. And you probably don't see use of it. If I like to align it down here, it's not much use, but what I can do is I can lock my extrusion in the direction of this direction, which is X direction in my case, by pressing middle mouse button, or I can just press X key to do the same. And now when I move my cursor close to this vertex here and hold Control and click, it will align only the X direction of those two vertices, so they'll be aligned in the X, but the rest is going to stay where it was. So when I go N, I can check now that this is 840 and this is 840 as well. They're aligned. So I can now do it quickly with the rest. Extrude. I can go very quickly now and align. As you see, it's pretty quick. It just jumps right where I want it. And I can do the same with this one. There you go. Now I have finished all the walls, and by here you think those two vertices, they're aligned, but they're not actually merged. They're still two vertices. So there's no one corner, but there are two walls that are meeting exactly in the same place. So if I would G move this corner somewhere, you see that this part of the wall is not moving, in the same way for this other part. So I'd like to actually merge them. To do that, I will select all the vertices, and I will use this remove double button. But before I do it, I will set my limit to 0. So I'm only removing doubles that are exactly on the same position, on the same spot, without any tolerance. If I would have some large value in here, the risk is, for example, if I would have 0.5 in here and I would have those two 0.4 apart, Blender will merge them and they will replace them with 1, which is somewhere in the middle in the average of the two. So I like to avoid that. It will mess up my geometry. So I like to press limit to 0, remove doubles, and as you see, it's removed 4 vertices. So it's removed those two over here and those two over there. So now it's finished. As you can see, if I'm here, press G, I'm moving the whole corner, and I can start extruding up. Now I will extrude to the height of the apron, which I know from Blueprint is 1 meter high, but I don't know how to tell Blender to go 1 meter up, because my model is not scaled up exactly in the scale. It's just was done by tracing the background image that was not in any particular scale. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go back to Transform Properties and tap out to Object Mode, and I will scale the model up so its size it's matching the size of the real house. So 1 Blender unit will equal to 1 meter. So I can then say go 1 unit up, and it will be the same as I would say go 1 meter up. I will read here in my blueprint what's the Y and X dimensions of my house. I can't read it here, but I have a blueprint next to me, so I will know that in my X direction it's 17.8 meters, and in Y direction it is 13.1 meter. So I can turn the background off now, so I don't need it anymore. And I'd like to also place the origin of my house to this beginning of the Blender scene over here. So I'll tap to Edit Mode, select this corner over here, Shift S to go to Snap Tool, and I will snap my 3D cursor to the selection, to the corner that I've just selected. I have to tap out of my Edit Mode to Object Mode, because I will set my center of the object to the cursor, and this doesn't work in Edit Mode. You have to be in Object Mode. So I press this one now, and as you see, my transfer tool has moved to this place. Now I can set my location to 0, 0. So my object has moved, and I'd like to scale my. I like to Control A to apply scale and rotation, so I don't have this. Just the scale is 1 to 1 to 1, which is nice and clean. So I have the right dimensions. It's nice scale. Origin is 0, so everything is nice and clean. So even if I move it somewhere, I can always return to it later on. Now I'll start extruding up. As I said, I'll extrude 1 to 1 meter, but instead of extruding all the walls, including doors and windows, and trying to delete them later on, I will leave the gaps for doors and for windows right away, and I'll tell you later on why it's better. I don't know where doors and windows are. I can look to my blueprint next to me, but you can't see it, so I will, for you, display it over here. I need to go in Object Mode, and I will open image of my ground floor, and I will Control Tab, and I will go to Face Select Mode. So I'm selecting faces, and I will A to select all, and I'll select all the doors that I don't like to extrude. So it's here, there, those two there as well. I don't want to extrude those little windows there as well. And there's the door. They're windows, but they're going all the way down, so I'll select them as well. And I just double check that I can come here through, come there, here. So it looks like all is selected. Now I will select this one back intentionally, so I will show you later on, so I can delete it and show you why it's better to do it this way. So I will to go to front view so you can see what I'm doing, and I will extrude, and instead of moving it by mouse button, I'll press Z1 enter, so I'm moving it 1 meter in the Z direction. So I press Z now to go to solid mode, so you can see that I've already started building the walls. Now I need to deselect windows now, so I'll deselect that one here. I'm leaving this one, and here. I guess that's it. If I forget one, I can get back to it, do it the same way as this one. And extrude region Z 1.4 meters. So now you can see it's it made little windows here. Now I need to close the windows and doors on the top part, because I'll be extruding solid wall. So what I can do, I can Control Tab to go to edge select mode, and I can select those two edges here. Now I selected the back of the object, so it's easier if I do that, to come over here and press this button to limit selection to visible, so it wouldn't happen anymore. And I can press F to create this little face here. This is the way I used to do it, but when I published this tutorial to a website, someone came in the forum and suggested a better way of doing that, and I'd like to share that with you. So that's why I redid this exercise, this tutorial again. And the suggestion was quite genius. If I tab to, I'll go to wireframe mode, and I will go to select vertices. I will select this part of the house where I have those faces over here, and I will duplicate them and move them up, so they will actually, I'll copy them on this top part. So what I will do is I will do Shift D to duplicate them, and I'll press Z 1.4 to move them up, and I will do the same with the doors. So the doors are beginning down here. Shift D, Z 2.4. I go 2.4 because I have 1 meter to apron and another 1.4 up. So now everything is closed. I can now select everything, and I can do our famous remove doubles. Now I did 384. That was quite a lot, because I've basically duplicated all this middle part, and I duplicated all the vertices from bottom again, so they were there 3 times in fact. Now I can continue extruding, so I box select this top part, and I can start extruding. But as you see, I am still in solid mode, and I have limited my selection to visible. So if it looked from front view that everything is selected, if I would start extruding, you will see that only the visible walls were selected. So U for undo, and I'll select it from wireframe mode. It's always safer to do it from wireframe mode if I'm selecting something that I don't see. So this is now done, and I can extrude Z, and this will go 0.2, which is 20 centimeters. So my ground floor is finished. I will now extrude once more, Z 0.4, and this part that I've done right now is there'll be floor of the first floor on the top of those faces, and on the bottom along this edge there'll be ceiling of the bottom part. So I like to separate it and make this a separate object. So I will select those two rows of vertices and press P to separate selected, and I'll create a new object. So I have two objects now, and I will name them. I will name this one ceiling, so I'll go to object, name it ceiling, and I'll name the mesh same, and I will name this one ground floor, and the object same. The reason I'm doing this is when I have lots of objects and meshes over here, it makes quite useful to navigate in the outline view in here, and I can even search, and when I select something I can keep selecting like that. So I'd like to keep them nice and name them from the beginning. It's easier than going and renaming them later on. I'd like to also press M to move this object to my second layer, and this one M the third layer. And the way I organize the scene is I will keep my garden or my exterior in my first layer, and my ground floor will be in the second layer, and all the furniture and everything which belongs to ground floor will be right under, and my ceiling will be here in the third layer, and on fourth layer I will have my first floor, and ceiling will be here, and I will have roof in this sixth layer, and here in those layers I will have my lights and cameras and whatever objects I will need to move to a separate layer for some rendering or other reasons. But you can organize it as you wish. This is just the way it worked for me. Now I'll select the ceiling. In here, before I do that, I forgot to delete this wall over here to make a hole for the doors. So I'll go to Control Tab, go to Face Select Mode, select those two faces, X, erase faces, do the same in here. And as you see, what happened was in here I do not have this wall in the middle, so this wall doesn't have a side. You can see inside. In here it nicely created faces, but in here I don't have them, so I would have to go to Control Tab to Edge Select Mode, select those edges, F, created faces, and I would do the same over here. And it also didn't create face on top, but I didn't do it here either, because when they were there and I'm extruding them up, it will leave the faces open, so I can either leave it, because when I look from the house I usually don't see it, or I could fix it, but I will fix everything, and I will fix them the same way as I was doing before. So I will just like to work with vertices. Doesn't matter, but I'd like to do it that way, and I will B to box select this part, Shift D to duplicate Z 1.4, enter, and select this one, Shift D Z 2.4, enter, B, select this part, remove doubles, removed, and this is done. So my windows are closed from top now, and doors. Now, before I was making sure my faces are pointing outside, but as I was copying those faces in here, it's not true for those little faces here. So what I can do is I can just select everything and press Ctrl N to recalculate normals outside, and it will also do the trick. So you can use this shortcut as well, or just find it in the menu. Turn it off. So this is my ground floor. I have my ceiling in here, and I will start creating my first floor. So I will tap to my edit mode, select the top part and press P to separate, select it. So I have created another object here, and I'm going right away name it first floor. First floor, and in fact I don't have a wall in here, so probably what I wanted to do is delete this part. I should have deleted this face before extruding, but can always fix it later. But as you can see, it's creating more work because I would have to finish those faces in here. So I take this top part again, this object over here, and I will move it, as I said, to my fourth layer. So this is my first floor. Now my first floor does not have exactly the same room as ground floor. It wouldn't be nice. So I'll show you there are different rooms in here, and so I'd like to show again my background image, but in this case I will take my first floor and I will need to scale it up a little and move it down a little. So I have changed the scale of the object, so my background is not in the scale anymore. So I need to adjust it a little bit. I can play a little while with it, but I think for this exercise this will do. I could have also remembered how did I scale the object, and I could have applied the same scale in here, but I think for now this will work. and I'll go to object mode. I'll tap to edit mode, and I'll go to select vertices. So what I need to do now is I need to adjust those vertices in here so they are where they should be. So in here, for example, I need to insert loops, and I need to align this one with this wall, G for grab, align this one with this wall. I can use a couple of interesting shortcuts I like to show you as well. When I press Alt right mouse button, I'm going to select a loop, and I can press X and delete edge loop, so I will actually merge those two, so I can use it here as well. I can just press Alt, right click, delete edge loop in here, and I can do it in all places where I shouldn't have any edges. So I can add, delete edges, so here I can extrude, and these were aligned, so I could do that. In here I like to delete that one. I like to delete all that geometry inside, so I will use A to deselect everything, and B again to use brush select tool, and with my mouse scroll or my mouse wheel I can adjust the size of the brush, so I can now adjust what is going to be selected. So the other thing is, when I select something, I can hold Alt and brush over, and it's going to deselect. So I can just quickly select like that, select this. This I wanted to keep, and I also wanted to keep the chimney. It's going to go up, and I can now X and delete all the vertices, and those two as well. And now I need to go and recreate some of the geometry, basically clean it, delete some of the vertices here, create some new ones over there, close this door, and so on. So I will pause over here and do this offline, and I will come back when my model is according to the blueprint. I have traced all the walls on the first floor, so what I need to do now is to extrude them up the same way as I did on the ground floor. So I already selected the doors, and now I can go and E for extrude, region Z1 to go to 1 meter. Now I come back and I select windows as well, so it's 1 second, and those little ones in here, and that should be it. And now I can extrude region Z 1.4. I'm done here as well. Now I need to close them up, so I can turn off my background now. I can use the same trick as I did at the bottom, so Shift D, Z 2.4, B, Shift D, Z 1.4. So this is done. I need to close this little part here as well. So I will insert Control R loops in here, but it doesn't work, so I probably have some vertices that I have left, so I just delete them, try again. I've done something wrong in this part. Okay, it works now. So I can move this one, actually move those two down and align them with this gentleman in here, and move this one down as well, align him over here. And now I can take this top part and I can actually create face over here. So it was a little complicated, but at the end it worked. And how can I, in wireframe, select everything, and finally extrude Z 0.2, and I have got my first floor as well. The first floor is finished, so let's have a look what we've created so far. On the second layer we have ground floor. On the third layer we have got a ceiling with the floor of the first floor, even though there are no faces created yet, so it looks funny because you can see through and you can't walk on the first floor. And on the fourth layer we have the first floor. So let's fix the ceiling and the roof now. So I'll go to front view, I'll tap to edit mode, and I will go to wireframe mode, and I'll select the top row of vertices because I like to work with the bottom part now first. I'll press H to hide what was selected, and I'll 7 to top view. I'll select those corners over here, and F, create face. Here I cannot create face by selecting all the corners because I can create face only from 3 or 4 vertices. I will select 4 here, F face, those 4, or those 4. There's another way of doing that, which I'm going to show you on the floor, on the top part of this mesh. So I'll Alt H to show the rest. Go back to front view. I'll deselect everything. I'll Z to wireframe mode, and B box select. Select the bottom part, H, hide it, and go back to top view. So this part is the same. F, and I'll put in solid mode so you can see it. And now I'll select all the corners of the room. But instead of F creating face, I will E for extrude, and I'll press S to scale, so I can scale it down to the center of the room. But instead of using mouse, I'll press 0 to scale it down to 0% and press enter. So I've scaled it down to a single point, and I will remove doubles now, so it doesn't contain all those vertices in the same place, but only one. And I can move with this point if the faces actually go outside of the walls, but in this case it works just fine. Alt H to show everything, so you can see from bottom we have faces like that, and from top we've got faces like that. So again, we've got ground floor, ceiling, and the floor of the first floor and first floor. It looks already nice. Now we will be creating a roof of the house. We will not be creating a roof on top of the house like that, but we will be actually the roof will be actually cutting through the walls over here. So go to top view, and I'll only show this part. And I'll be in object mode and space add mesh plane, and I will add a plane which I'm going to move to this corner over here, and I'm going to size it to follow the perimeters of this part of the house, because this house will have actually two roofs. I'll Control R and create a loop here in the middle, and from side view I'll move this up a little. I'll go to wireframe mode so I know where I am, and I'll move it up like that. So it looks like this. As you see, the walls are coming through the roof, and there's not many houses like that. So what I will do is I'll first hide this part of the house. So B, select that, and H to hide it. So I can either select that, and I can go K for knife, and I can draw a line and cut through those walls, and then I can select those vertices and delete them. But I don't like to do that because it's very difficult to make a cut that is exactly following this roof here, and especially if you do multiple cuts through multiple walls, then each cut will be slightly different, and it will also modify the geometry and the faces, and it'll create triangular faces, and it'll make it difficult later on to create loops and insert textures. So I'll do something else, but for that I need to prepare. I'll go to top view, and I'll go to solid mode so I can see where the wall is actually meeting the roof, and I'll do Control R, and I'll insert loops and the border where the roof is meeting the wall. I'll get rid of the transform manipulator so I can see where I am, especially for this tiny wall. Or same over here, and I'll do the same over here. It's pretty quick. I'll go to side view again. I'll go to transparent mode, and I will BB brush select all those vertices that are on top of the roof. Now I'll go to top view here, and I need to be in solid mode. That is important because I'll be using the retopo tool for that one. This doesn't work if you are in wireframe mode. And you can see what's happening on this right view on this part of the screen. So I will be in top view. It's important because the retopo works down from the way you look, and I want those vertices to go down in the Z direction. So I'm looking down in the Z direction, and I'll press retopo and retopo all. Now I have two 3D views, so the Blender doesn't actually know in which of the two 3D views I like to follow retopo, because here it will be actually going down in the X direction, here it's going down in the Z direction. I'll click in here, and as you see, the selected vertices fell down to meet the roof. I will move the roof to another layer so you can actually see what has happened. So I have nicely, the roof is here, and the walls were cut exactly nicely to go under the roof. So this is what I wanted. But as you can see in this part, I have a little balcony, and it cut the walls, but I actually don't want the roof to be all the way here, so I need to move this edge in that direction. If I was working with, for example, this wall over here, which I'm going to select, can use the transfer manipulator, and I can actually easily move it in that direction if I want to. Even though now something funny happened, and what happened was I have forgotten to turn off the retopo tool, and this is what I wanted to remind you of. Always remember to turn off the retopo tool, otherwise if you're moving with the vertices, that will actually fall down to the object beneath. So I've turned it off now, and I can move this wall. So you can see it's very easy to move something using the transform manipulator. But if I have this roof, I can select this edge. It's very easy to move it in this direction or that direction, but if I'd like to move it along this edge, it is not currently very clear how to do it, but Blender can do it very easily. The only way what you need to do is to go here and switch the transform manipulator from global to normal mode, and it will turn to follow the normal of the object. So here I can see on the right view that actually it's following the normal of the face, so I can move it over here very easily. This not always works, especially if you have more complex object than this roof that has many faces, and the edges are actually not on the edge of the object, but somewhere in the middle. So I'll show you other way to do that. I will insert two loops over here, and I'll actually go back to global mode, and I will move them a little bit here. I'll create a little window over here, right? So I will create another two over here, and those two I like to move a little bit down. And to do that, I will go to face select mode, and I will press Shift V, and I will align view to the selected face. I like to look at it from top. So now I'm looking exactly from top on this face, and I need to switch the orientation of the transform manipulator to view mode. And now if I select, I need to go to edge mode. I select this edge loop. As you can see it on the right part of the screen, I'm actually moving the edge along the side as well. So I can actually now go select this face and delete this face, and I have created a place for a little window. Those two are actually to go over here. You should have been in global view just to be sure. There you go. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. I hope you find it useful, and I'll continue right away with creating doors and windows to the house, so it actually starts looking as a house. And then we'll put some textures, and we can start some lights and start our first Blender. Till then, bye bye.